some of the best ideas you'll have when it comes to innovation and change will be those in a team who have got the perspective of a newcomer simply because they've got fresh eyes. They're new. They're new to the industry, they're new to your context, they're new to your team. You know, the great thing about people with fresh eyes is I'll often ask the most obvious questions and they're the best ones. Questions like, why do we do things that way? Or why do we do this at all? What's the purpose? What's the point here? See, people with fresh eyes will often have no trouble thinking outside the box because they don't even know what the box looks like at this point. I love this student's exam response as a case in point of just seeing things outside the box that all the experts had missed. Now, school teachers will tell you this is not called fresh eyes, it's called smart ass, okay? But it does make the point of just fresh eyes notice stuff that everyone else has missed. And I reckon, hands down, the best example I've come across of the power of fresh eyes in driving this sort of open-minded, humble, Shoshin perspective that drives innovation. There was a case a little while back. I was speaking at a conference for local government executives. These are all heads of departments in local councils. And there was one guy I was speaking to during the lunch break. And he was the head of asset management for one of the big councils, local government areas. But he said they'd had this very experience in the previous 12 months. Of someone with fresh eyes coming onto the team, the asset management team at the council, and asking questions. And this guy rocked up, and early in his tenure working in the organisation and in part of the asset management team, he noticed something that he thought was a bit odd. He noticed when he looked at the asset registry, which is the database of all the things they're using in local government facilities, he noticed there were a whole lot of items, in fact most of the items they were paying monthly rental costs on. And he was like, what's the go with that? In fact, he started to run some numbers on a few of the items in the asset registry, and he found that there are a whole series of box trailers. Now get this, the average box trailer they'd been renting for in excess of 13 years, paying monthly costs. They'd spent about 25 grand per trailer renting these things. Now these trailers, your response is appropriate, really? They cost about $5,000 or $6,000 to buy outright. He's like, why are we doing that? And he starts to dig a bit further and found there's a whole fleet of pedestal fans they were using in council facilities. The average pedestal fan they'd spent over $5,000 renting. It's like, what? So he goes to his boss, the guy I'm chatting to at this conference, and asks that question, why do we rent things? And the guy said, at first I was a bit miffed, a bit put out, this young punk. He's only been here 6 minutes. How dare he ask us why we do things the way we do? He said, I would never have done that when I was at that stage of my career. And that's the point, by the way. Often younger generations, that Gen Z cohort, will do this. With fresh eyes, they come in and they just ask the obvious questions. It can be such a gift. And he said, once I got over that sense of being offended, he said, I actually realised it was actually a good question. There wasn't really a good answer. I said, I don't know why we rent things. When I came to this role as a leader 10 years ago, I said, I come from another organisation where we didn't rent things, but they rented things here. So we'd improved the system, but basically kept that system intact. So he said, we decided to think about innovation. Now, if you've done much work with local government, you'll know that innovation tends to happen slowly in a local government context. So it was he said, 7 months of committee meetings and focus groups. Eventually, they moved away from a rental model to a buy and depreciate model for their assets. And we were in a pretty noisy conference facility, but he leant in, he's almost whispering. He said, I'm actually embarrassed to tell you how much money we are saving local residents. It is a fortune. He said, I can't believe we didn't see it. But it took someone with the humility, the open-mindedness of fresh eyes to come in and see that for what it was. And I love this insight from Frank Ryan, a science writer, who puts it well when he said that solutions often lie in places that only beginners bother to look, because they're not encumbered by all of the assumptions and the experience that the rest of us, our judgment can get clouded so easily.